What's up, guys? People wanted me to show the Direware, and I wanted to as well. It's not my knife. It's here for me just to inspect and crave and wish I had. I am on the list for the Direware Solov2, which is this, but the flipper version. Drummer Boy 80, I think. Forgive me. I don't feel good. I've been sick the past day or two. So forgive me for not remembering your name. I know it's Drummer Boy. I just can't remember the letters or the numbers after it. He loaned this to me just to check out. Really glad he did too, because it's an amazing knife. It's a custom. It's a Direware Solov2, if I haven't said that already. It's a tank of a knife. I have this 301 here just because it's what people normally think of when they hear tank of a knife, and it is a tank. I mean, it's a huge beefy knife, but the Direware just puts it to shame. Honestly, it's on a whole nother level. It even makes the 301 look small. Wow, I didn't realize it was that big of a difference. As you can see, it's big. Lengthwise, it's about exactly the same as a large Sabenza. Almost literally exactly the same length. I think it could be exactly the same length. It's a big knife, 9.5 ounces is the weight. Carbon fiber, non-locking side with a titanium locking side scale. I just have this out to keep it off the wood. I don't want it to get scratched. The titanium and the blade have this nice finish on it. It's a unique finish on the titanium. I think this is anodized and then not stone washed. I don't know what he's done to this, but it looks great. I think this is probably just sandblasted with this weird scratch pattern on here. It's not from use. It's something he did, I'm almost positive. But it looks great. It almost looks like a Book of Eli, like battle-worn character marks. I really like it. It's all over the titanium, pocket clip. The carbon fiber is gorgeous. It's finished extremely well. Just as good as the Microtech Matrix that I had. It had excellent carbon fiber, and this is just as good. It's extremely thick. In some spots it's 5 mil thick. So really, really stout. Carbon fiber is really hard as well. I mean, it's extremely hard. So you have no issues with toughness. I mean, this knife is extremely rigid, even though it doesn't have liners on this side. See the huge, beefy titanium standoffs? I imagine they're titanium. I don't know for sure. I don't know why they wouldn't be. But see the standoffs. Stop pin is the thumb studs. Big, beefy thumb stud. Never seen anything like this, so I imagine he makes those himself as well. Overall, really neat construction. One thing I have thought I wouldn't like when I saw pictures of this knife, but I did liking it, is the way that the pocket clip is stood off of the scale. I thought that would be annoying, but instead it actually locks your hand in. It feels good, and it keeps your hand from coming back any further because you have this ramp, and it just kind of locks your hand into the grip. It's not uncomfortable in the least bit because the part that your hand actually grips isn't stood off of the scale that much. But the part back here is, and it keeps your hand from sliding back. Fits your hand really, really well. Thought I would dislike that, but I ended up liking it a lot. A lot. His pocket clip is done really well. You would think it'd be hard to get in and out of your pocket, but he's beveled it here so that you have something, makes it easy for you to get something underneath it, which is nice design. It's easy to get in and out of your pocket despite it having crazy retention. I mean, it's a really solid pocket clip. Looks nice too. One of the better looking clips. The blade is a recurve, obviously, almost kind of like a Tanto recurve, but I don't know, it's different. It's unique, and I like it. Up here, it's really, really thick. Really thick. You would never ever break this tip. It does cut. Down here, it's ground really, really thin. I haven't really cut anything other than paper with it, so you can't really judge geometry by doing that, but it's ground really thin down here, so you could get nice cuts. And up here, it's ground really thick, so it's robust. It's very cool. What else? Just give you a good look at it. The blade is S30V, if I remember correctly. Either S30V or S35VN. Can't remember. The color of the titanium is just gorgeous. It's anodized blue. Really like that. The pivot is on bearings, so it's smoother than you would imagine a knife this size could be. It's extremely smooth. The blade actually will fall free if you take the pressure off the lock bar. I mean, that's how smooth it is. Just as you would imagine a bearing pivot to be. Side-to-side play is absolutely non-existent. It's the most solid folder I've ever handled, ever. It quite literally feels like a fixed blade, and that's not an exaggeration. It is the most solid folding anything I've ever handled. It's just amazing how solid it is, honestly. And that's side to side and vertical. The lock geometry on this is the most perfect lock geometry I've ever seen on a folder also. It is a radius blade tang, but it's done right. It's just ever so slightly radiused. The lock face appears to be slightly radiused as well, convexed. I think just by looking at it, it appears that it's not flat. You can see it up against the flat cut. You see that it's kind of conical. And it fits the radius of this blade tang perfectly. The lockup goes to about 45%, and it is absolutely tank-like. There is no vertical play, not even any flex, no wiggle, nothing. The blade does not move, and that's just, despite me really trying to get it to move. You can't. It doesn't move. And I thought, okay, well, it locks up solid. That's good. Maybe it's not the geometry, but if you disengage the lock and then let it come in just a little bit, so that's obviously earlier than it locks when you open it kind of swiftly, it still doesn't have any vertical play. I mean, it doesn't move, period, at all. Still no vertical play, even with it being early like that. And that's just due to it having excellent lock geometry. Literally the most perfect lock geometry I've ever seen. I don't ever imagine this lock wearing out. Honestly, ever. It's just mated too perfectly. You could open this thing a million times. I don't think it would wear at all. I mean, it just fits perfectly. That's something that not many makers can do, honestly. Not many makers. And I've actually heard that from a well-respected custom knife maker, that not a lot of people can get their geometry right. Another something that he did that's kind of innovative is the over travel stop is nothing external. He actually drove a pin into the backside of this lock bar, and that pin comes in contact with the titanium If you try to overextend it, you can't because that pin comes in contact. I'll try and show it, but I don't think I'll be able to. Maybe I can. You can see the hole right down in there where my finger is. That's where the pin rides. And there's the pin itself right down in there. Right there. So that's the over travel pin. It's completely internal, so it looks clean on the outside, as you can see. It's just amazing. The guy that makes these really puts his heart and soul into this, and you can tell it's finished perfectly. Look at how the lock bar meets the blade tang and how that interfaces with the scales. Everything is perfectly smooth. You don't really feel any ridges or anything that's not fit that well. It's all just perfectly fit, and when you turn the knife, make it perfectly perpendicular to your eyes, you don't see anything standing out. It's just all flush, and it's hard to do because he has 1, 2, 3, 4 surfaces here to make perfectly level, and he did it. And that's just not something you see a lot on any knife. So yeah, this isn't a review, it's just a quick overview. I don't want to go into detail about everything, but I kind of did anyway. But after I fondle it more, I'm really not going to use it. I don't know if he sent this to me to use at all, but even if he did, I'm not really comfortable with that. A knife this nice and just kind of rare, honestly. There are not many of them made. I just don't really want to use. I don't want to scratch it. I know if I lent this out to somebody, it was my knife, and I lent it out, if it came back with a scratch, I would be furious. So I'm going to treat it like it was mine. So just wanted to show you guys. It's an awesome knife. Really awesome knife. Big and beefy. It almost looks like a hand grenade when it's closed. Just has a nice shape to it. Very, very unique. Anyway, let me know what you think. Review should be coming soon, I guess. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.